Well, I've always been self-conscious about my forehead, and I was always looking at ways of hiding it, different hairstyles and whatnot. So one night I was on Google, probably trying to find such a thing, and I stumbled across a story about a girl in Britain who had a forehead reduction. And I'd never heard about that. I didn't even know that existed. I was completely dumbfounded. So then I read into it and I found out that it was an actual thing. So I started Googling about it, and I found Dr. Schmidt here in Denver that performed these procedures. And I looked at him, I looked at other surgeons, but one thing that stood out was that he was also double board certified, and he had just a really, really good reputation. I liked his story online. And I really wasn't planning on doing it right away. I just wanted to get more information about it. So I ended up coming in for a consultation, and that's kind of how it got started. The reason, there was other surgeons available, but I liked that Dr. Schmidt was, and I don't know how else to put it, but he was newer and fresher, not so much as less experienced, but it made me think that he probably had a lot more, newer recent techniques as opposed to some of the other doctors and pictures that I've seen. So I know, being double certified, you learn a lot more things as you go. So I felt like, okay, he's probably going to know a different technique than maybe a surgeon that has been doing this much longer. And it turns out that, based on what I got and based on other reviews or other stories that I've listened to or read online, some of the scarring is different. So when we talked about his, the way he does it, it just made me feel like, okay, this is newer. This is a different technique that he does. And I don't know, I just felt really comfortable with the way things were going to go with him. And things turned out pretty great. Well, I came in for the consultation, and I didn't think I was going to actually do it. I really just wanted more information, but I loved Dr. Schmidt, his personality. I loved his staff, and I felt very comfortable that I decided to, put a deposit down and get started. I was nervous because I didn't know how painful it was going to be. I've heard, it's not painful at all, but then really anytime somebody's going to cut your head, I imagined it was going to be very painful. The pain medication, my stomach, I couldn't tolerate it. So I had a really hard time that first night, and then I called the after hours line because I was in so much pain. I didn't know what to do, and he called me right away. I didn't have to wait very long. He just called me, and then apparently I was having some sort of problem with my cell phone where the calls weren't coming through, but he kept calling me and calling me and calling me until I was able to get a hold of him, and he wrote me another type of prescription, and I was fine. But I really loved how he was very persistent with trying to help me. Give it some time. With a surgery like mine, you can see your results right away, right? Because you come out of surgery, you see the scar, you see the reduction. But after that, things are going to get worse before they get better. There's going to be the swelling, there's going to be the pain. You just have to be patient with it. It's going to be worth it. I do it sooner than later because I wish I would have learned about this in my 20s, because then I wouldn't have gone so and so many years being self-conscious about it. Like, if there's something you want to work on and you want to not worry about anymore, then take care of it so that it's over, and then you can move on with your life like I am. Now I don't think about it anymore. I used to think about it all the time, like, oh my gosh, can you see my face? How am I going to hide my forehead? Now I don't think about that at all, and it's liberating. And And the more I look at it, I catch myself looking at myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh man, I love this. I'm so glad I did this, despite all that happened.